Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another edition of the Shooters Lounge podcast. I'm your host, Matt at PostUp323. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. You can follow us on the socials at Shooters Lounge 3 and also follow us on YouTube and also in podcast form on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. The NBA champions, guys, have been crowned, and we're going to have a big four today, guys. Here he is, making a brief appearance. We've got some great guests tonight. So we've got Jordan. Good to see you again, Jordan.
Yeah, good to see you, mate. Dive in, suck into the last meal of the season.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely good to have you on. And also a guy who I never thought we'd see him again this season, but he's making an appearance right towards the end of the season. It's a pleasure to have him on. We've got GM John. GM John, welcome to the Shooters Lounge again, bro.
Thank you very much. What's good, everyone? Thank you very much for having me, Matt.
Absolutely pleasure, mate. Absolute pleasure. And at a secret location, I've no idea where he is, but we've got the main man, Philosopher. Philosopher, what's happening, dude?
I'm all good, man. It's good to be here. I've missed too many due to, work schedules, but, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me. As usual, the Shooters Lounge boss, Matt. Good to see the rest of the guys as well.
Always, man. Got a massive echo coming out of your mic, mate.
Yeah? All right, cool. So I'm going to mute that unless I have to talk.
All right, bro. Appreciate it, mate. Appreciate it. So like I was saying, guys, the champions were crowned. So the OKC Thunder champs beating Indiana Pacers 103-91 to take Game 7. So George, after this bumpy start, do you want a smooth transition through, bro?
Not if I can. That's just made me laugh. I really don't know why.
Never do live TV, bro.
No, mate, it wasn't in the career path, to be honest. John, do you want to go ahead, mate, while I just recompose?
Yeah, no problem. Probably one of the most disappointing Game 7s in recent memory, for me. Obviously, for obvious reasons. This could have been a proper, real battle between two really, really good teams. Indiana has been such an underdog this season. They've looked incredible during the playoffs. They've played with such an underdog mentality the entire time, and it looked that it was going to be going to the wire for Game 7. But obviously, Haliburton blowing out his Achilles, taking the trip to Snap City. Very unfortunate, but yeah, after that happened, I never saw a way back. And yeah, OKC, a very worthy champion, a great squad, assembled the right way. They've done fantastically well, with a defense first mentality, and having Shea and Jalen obviously playing at a very, very high level as well. So yeah, they've done incredibly well. They have such a great future with the amount of picks they have going forward, with Chet Holmgren. They have just a bunch of really good, talented guys. So yeah, a very worthy champion. Very unfortunate for the Indiana Pacers, but yeah, shit happens.
That's exactly what happens, mate. Shit does happen, bro. George, have you managed to gather yourself?
Yeah, we're back in the room. I mean, yeah. I do get what John means, but I think obviously it was, the Pacers were a point up at half time, and it was certainly looking like I just thought this would be the most Pacers thing ever if they can somehow overcome losing their best player in that kind of, in that scenario, Achilles going early on when it looked like he was going to just ignite that game. Everyone said, haven't they? That was the kind of feeling. It was that Haliburton was going to put 40 points up. It was going to be like a generational game. They started red hot, and then bang, all of a sudden reality comes knocking, and It just didn't happen. But I still had, some belief that they might be able to just find a way to just cling on and hang on. And like I've got a friend who's a Thunder fan, and he was watching it live with me at the same time, and I was pretty sure that I think they took that. It was not a 19-point lead in the third quarter, and I was like, yeah, it's over. And at the start of the fourth, Indy got it back to within 9, and I was like, here we go again. Here we go again. But I don't think it ever really got close enough that I thought they've got a chance to go on a run, because their offense wasn't clicking. They had no Tyrese Haliburton. That's ultimately what it comes down to. There was no one there to create the shot. He didn't, even when the ball was moving. I mean, you saw TJ McConnell, and I know the way he plays like a rabid pit bull. But he looked lost because he was trying to do the job of a conventional point guard. And I just saw him running in the paint. There'd be 3 people, and he just started looking around, thinking, where can I pass it? And I think, Chet got 3 blocks just on McConnell because he was running into the paint, and he was like, oh, I'm just going to have to throw it up. And it was just such an easy block because he's like a 6'4", like 5'11" point guard trying to lay it up over a 7-footer. It's just not going to work out, is it? I think that was it. The second half, the offense went. Must admit, I don't think Rick Carlisle's behavior helped at all. I don't know what, I appreciate that he really, really wanted it, but he was acting, he lost his head so many times where he'd be halfway on the court shouting at the ref, and I'm just thinking that's not going to help the team because they're going to see how desperate you are, and then they're going to try and be desperate, and it's just everything's going to go wrong. And, I think, was it 8 minutes and 43 seconds that the Pacers didn't score a point other than when it was TJ McConnell. When TJ McConnell's your only point scorer in nearly 9 minutes, it's not going to end well. And that's ultimately where it failed. There was a massive Tyrese Haliburton shaped hole in that offense. And,
I was honest to God waiting for the arena to go black like the Undertaker and Reggie just to pop out with a jersey and just be like, just hands up, ball.
Give me the ball. Yeah, absolutely. Philosopher, are you able to give us some analysis from where you're at, bro?
I don't know if the echo is gone. Is the echo gone now?
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
Yeah,
hey.
There he is.
Yeah.
That's right, bro.
Yeah, lovely. Well, I think the Pacers were deflated. Evidently, the Pacers were deflated. The Tyrese Haliburton injury deflated them, and that was evident because up until then, even in their losses, Rick Carlisle proved to be the better coach. He deployed the better systems. And the Thunder leaned more on their suffocating defense, which is a tribute to their coaching staff as well. However, in a game 7, here's where you're going to agree with John. And me and John don't disagree very often. But I agree with him to a point. It should have been a better game 7. I agree with John. It should have been a better game 7. However, and Jordan mentioned this. Funny enough, I can't believe I sided with Jordan over John. I cannot believe this. This is probably going to be a hot take. But the fact that the Pacers clawed that lead back multiple times without their star player meant that they had a chance. But their mentality was deflated. The moment Tyrese Haliburton went down, their mentality was deflated. So even though TJ McCollum was so everything was going, and even Rick Carlisle, again, Jordan, side of you here again, even Rick Carlisle losing his head, himself was deflated because ultimately, and I have to mention this, Tyrese Haliburton should not have played. I mean, hindsight is 20/20, but he has too many historical examples: Kobe, Kevin Durant, Kawhi. And this is in recent memory. We're talking the last decade to 15 years, yeah? If we go further back, I'm sure we can find more. Where you got a strain to that star player, and that star player playing makes it worse. Not just for the player, but also for the team, because now it deflated the team. I mean, there's also the flip side of that. For example, Paul Pierce, 2008, coming back out, could you turn Willis Reed all the way back in the 70s, etc., etc. You know, motivating your team into ultimately bringing that win. But the Pacers had enough that they could have made it a battle. They could have made it a battle, but their heads went down. The moment Tyrese went down, their heads went down. I saw it the whole game. The whole game. Even when they were clawing their back, they would end up doing stupid things. Jordan mentioned one with TJ McCollum. What about Mathurin? My friend was Casper the Ghost. Casper the Ghost. You know what I mean? Pascal Siakam is an employee sometimes, and other times he's the janitor. I mean, sometimes he's employee of the week. The other times he's a janitor that you can't find when you want the floor cleaning. You know what I mean? So kudos to OKC. However, because OKC put together a season from tip-off all the way to the chip, and they deserve the flowers. They deserve the flowers. I don't like the way that Shea gets given things, especially the fouls that he gets. I try real hard to like Shea Gilgeous Alexander, but I find that he's more James Harden than Kobe Bryant. With them ghost fouls he be pulling. But all around, him, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, you know, they had a couple vital pieces. For example, Alex Caruso and so on and so forth. They put together a fantastic squad, and they did well to pull it off in that game.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, I think obviously the game changed when Haliburton went down, guys. It goes without saying, doesn't it? He knew exactly what he'd done when he went down as well. He knew exactly what it meant and what it was. And nobody wants to see that in a game 7, guys, do they? Do you know what I mean? We want to see the best guys out there and been able to perform, and whoever comes out on top on the day wins. I particularly don't think that OKC played that well offensively. But with Haliburton going down, all they needed was their defense to come through. I mean, Oklahoma, I think the three-point shooting was 27% in this game. The field goals were just over 40%. So offensively, not a great game by OKC, but the defense is so good that they can win games just by that. And with Haliburton going down, you see what Indiana were like without Haliburton. That he makes them go, guys, doesn't he? It's pretty safe to say that he's the main focal point of the offense, and he makes the offense go. Once he goes down, it's very difficult.
He should have won East MVP. He should have won East MVP. I will go on the record forever saying that. And it's not to say that Pascal Siakam was bad in the series, because he was actually good. He was good. But Tyrese Haliburton is the spoon that stirs that coffee.
They're not there without Haliburton, bro, are they? They're not there.
They're not.
No.
They're not.
Absolutely. But like you say,
okay, like you said, okay, they don't have to do much. So all they needed to, which is why I said all they needed to do was to match OKC energy. But they was deflated.
Yeah. But like I say, credit to them. They were up at the half, guys, but I think they got punched in the third quarter, didn't they? And once OKC switched on defensively, it can just be so suffocating at times. And again, Indiana, 21 turnovers in this game. Tough to win any game, guys. We've said it for a long time. Any playoff game with those many turnovers. I thought Chet was really good defensively. He had 5 blocks in this game. I don't know how many people have had 5 blocks in a game 7 in a final. So he was particularly good as well. And like you say, the depth of this team just kind of shone through. I mean, both teams very good all-round squad, haven't they? And the bench come on and really, contribute. Mathurin 24 for Indiana, McConnell 16. Like you said, Jord, at one point it was like, is this going to be the TJ McConnell game? He's just trying to take over, and you've got to applaud the effort, but unfortunately, OKC didn't had too much for him. Sorry, go on, Jim.
Then you have Miles Turner 6 and 4, Aaron Naismith 3 and 6, Obi Toppin 0 and 2. Like.
Yeah.
If you have your depth needs to show up in a big and bad way in game 7, not like flop like a fucking flaccid dick. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. I was watching that game. I didn't get to watch it live. I watched it back.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I was like, I think Topin's going to go off this game, and he just looked crap. And then I looked. I knew straight away when I saw Lou Dort get some points. I was like, ooh, I think he got 9 total. But I was like, oh, he's getting some baskets. And I was like, oh, Casey Wallace is getting some baskets. Oh, Caruso's getting some baskets. I was like, oh. I was like, obviously you're going to get your Shea getting his 20 and 29 and Jalen getting his 20. But when you have, which actually, even the scariest thing about the Thunder, they're going to get better. They are going to be a better team next year.
Yeah.
That's unquestionable. You have Chet Holmgren, who's 2 years into his career, or was it 1 year, 2 years? 2 years into his career, who's clearly going to get better as he gets older. Jalen Williams is looking like D-Wade at times. Looks just is able to slash to the basket to get there so easy. Shea is still an MVP, even though he's not a debatable MVP. He is the MVP, but he is an MVP caliber player. You have Hartenstein, you have Caruso, you have their 8 is probably the best 8 in the league, or very very much up there. But Thunder are a hell of a squad. They've built it the right way. They have the picks going forward if they ever truly want to make like big bad moves in the future.
Yeah.
But I think, like Adam has said in the past, they don't really need to do anything. They can just stay the course with the guys they have, and they're going to compete for a very, very long time.
It's a scary thought for the rest of the league, guys, isn't it? That they could be better next year.
Yeah. Nuts.
Absolutely. I mean, SGA, he's put himself in a big in an exclusive club, really, guys. And he winning the Finals MVP, regular season, and scoring title. There's not many. It was the fourth. Is he the fourth player, guys? Kareem, Jordan, Shaq, and now SGA. So you're in pretty elite company. And to average 30 points in the finals, to win it, I think there's not many guys who've done that either. I think Rick Barry, Kareem, and Mike are now SGA. So you're in elite company, guys, aren't you? This has been a real special season for OKC. I think that tied 4th for the most wins in a season as well. It's been an amazing season from start to finish.
I have the Shaq quote for them. Can you do it again?
Exactly.
Remember what Shaq always says, that after he finally won the ring in 2000, especially from all the big men, all the old school big men, like, yeah, very good, talk, best thing we need around. Can you do it again? Because for all of what you and John just said, you know you're gonna punch at Jordan Leprechauns any chance they get. Look at the Leprechauns. We were seeing this about the Boston Celtics last year.
Yeah.
Last year. Yes, there's a difference in contracts. Yes, there's a difference in ages on the team. Yes, there's a difference with picks available, blah, 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 blah. But a healthy Boston Celtics right now, let's say they get all their ducks in a row. That's the future going forward. Boston versus OKC, I could see that. But they're gonna do it. But you have to do it. I like the fact that people keep remarking, it's parity in the league because you have 7 different champions, blah 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 blah. I actually think it's a credit to previous champions who repeated. So Golden State Warriors, if you go back, Golden State Warriors, Miami Heat, the Lakers again. The Spurs was a dynasty and never repeated. Think about that. The Pistons, the Bulls, the Lakers, Magic's Lakers repeated once. I think Birds Celtics, repeated one. I think, subject to correction, but if it's possible, it's very difficult to repeat. That's my because now you have gone from hunting to being the hunted. Ask the Nuggets. Ask Jokic's Nuggets in recent years. Ask Giannis's Bucks in recent years. Can they
We good.
I don't know where Matt's gone.
Is it Matt that's gone or is me that gone?
We good, guys.
It's Matt.
Sorry, guys.
He's back.
Back in. Can you go?
The host disappeared.
Technical issues.
Yeah, we got you.
So, George, you've been a bit silent for a bit, man. Any other thoughts?
I think that's it. It's just obviously just a bit of a funny one to take. I was saying obviously to you, Matt, that I was saying the OKC Thunder were going to win this year, and everyone disagreed with me at one point.
Is this where you want your flowers? Is it?
No, not yet. The Eagles still need
Oh my God! Oh my! Can we go back to Christmas? He said it. He said it just before Christmas. I think it was. Jordan, correct me. He said it just before Christmas. The OKC Thunder, if they stay healthy. Let me quote exactly how he likes to say things. If they stay healthy, they're gonna take it all this year. And we always like, bruv, it's a long way to go.
I like to call things in.
I know.
Sometimes it pays off, and sometimes it goes terribly wrong. But live by the sword, die by the sword. I still feel bad for the Pacers. I think the scenes afterwards were quite. It's not often that I really sort of care about another team, but I just felt a bit sad for them. They were everyone's little underdogs, weren't they? All
Yeah.
Playoffs. I think all the neutrals really would have been quite happy to see the Pacers win, and I think just for the cruelest twist of fate in Game 7, it's going to leave a bit of a sour taste, I think, in most people's mouths that we were robbed really of what could have been, an all-timer. Just got it robbed right before our eyes.
I agree with that.
Yeah, could have been an all-time classic, guys, couldn't it? It got all the makings, and it had started that way as well early in the first. And like you say, it's I guess we'll never know. It'll just be a game of for the Pacers. What if? You'll never know the answer now, will you? And they're going to have to live with that, unfortunately. Sorry, Jem, were you going to say something, bro?
Yeah. Do you know what the biggest weakness about this OKC Thunder team? What's going to stop them from potentially being a dynasty?
Please
Their
continue.
inability to pop bottles. My God.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing. They couldn't pop the champagne bottles. And then afterwards, I was just like, AC was like, you get your two thumbs and you push. And they're like, okay. And then afterwards, you just see like the cameras go into the dressing rooms. Like they're all gone home. We're going out to party. Them boys didn't drink Hanson. Come on, man. I'm being legless before I leave the dressing room if I win a championship.
Yeah. Does that show how young the team is overall, John? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. Like they're.
I mean, Jalen Williams said he'd never had a drink before. That was his first ever drink.
Who was it? One of the players drank like a Bud Light, and he was like, "Ugh."
Yeah,
I don't think, bro. Do not do that.
That was Jalen Green. He said he'd had some champagne, he'd had a beer, all disgusting. I'll stick to me Shirley Temples or something. Unbelievable.
He says, "Give me the tequila." He kind of saved himself last second. He says, give me a tequila." I was like, "Okay, okay."
Unbelievable. Clearly, they haven't been to Cancun holiday services for Lee Jordan. Get that all-inclusive in there, guys. Get the all-inclusive. Guys, one thing I noticed as well at the end, like the champions caps that they brought out at OKC were absolutely awful. Like they were some of the worst champions caps I've seen ever. They're disgusting. Like literally, it's almost as if they did it last minute. Like, oh crap, we need to
fire that designer.
Unbelievable, man! I couldn't believe. I'm like, oh, they got to wear them.
And what's funny is the t-shirts were nice. The black t-shirts were nice, and the caps were horrible. Like, who planned this out?
Unbelievable.
Some other things, Matt, that I also didn't like about the at the end. What the fuck were those golden shoes that Shea was dangling around his neck? What on earth are you doing? What the fuck were they? And the second thing, what? Oh, let's lift the Finals MVP trophy between the two of us. That's not how this works. You won it. You're the MVP. Lift that shit on your own.
Ooh, yes, Jordan.
Yeah, not good. Not good, guys.
It's just inexperience. They don't have the experience of winning.
He's 29 years old. He's not like, he's not a child. He's 29.
Is Shea 29?
Yes.
He was 27.
I thought he was 29.
20, well, but still, 27 ain't no excuse though. Still,
he's 26. He's 26, bro.
Yeah, I thought he was like 24, 25.
26. He's older than me.
they're mad young, man. They are so young. They are so young.
George, you're young too, bro.
Man, I'm telling you, I wouldn't act like that. I would have been.
Yeah.
If I'd have been flagging everyone off, saying you've talked shit about me all year. The last thing I'd do is dangle some dirty golden sneakers around my neck and say, "Oh, hello, teammate. Oh, let's lift this together." It's not how it works.
This is just how unselfish this team is, George. I think that's...
No. Stop it. No, stop it. Stop it. Cut that out right now.
I tried, guys. I tried.
Right now. Yeah. You lift the Larry together.
Yeah.
You lift the Larry together. But the finals MVP, everybody need to put you on the shoulders, bro. That's... Come on, man.
I can't even justify that one, to be honest. I was trying to... I think the golden shoes was something to do with Converse, bro. I think it was a Converse thing because he's sponsored by Converse.
And they're crap. And they are crap. His shoes are hurt. His shoes are so battered. They're battered, bro. They are hurt. I'm sorry. They're battered, man. Call me a hater. I don't care. They are hurt. Nah. I ain't playing that.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. But I think we're all happy that SGA was finals MVP, right? There was nobody else even in the combo, right?
There's man was consistent in the wins and the losses. Like SGA put on the type of performance that I tell the LeBron lovers and parties and friends that when your man is when your team loses, you can never point to the main man and say you're the reason or you didn't do your job. No one can point at SGA and say he didn't do his job at no time.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, guys, you averaged 30 points in the finals, mate, and you're in exclusive company, aren't you? So if you come out of the series on top, it's pretty safe to say you're going to be finals MVP, aren't you? So
there's one thing from this series I think SGA can take long term. I think he was very, very comfortable as just being. He was always a decent facilitator, but I think this series, with the pressure that was put on him and the double teams and scheming for him, I think he really found his feet as the floor general as well. He had 12 assists in Game 7. I think
could have had more, mate. If the guys were hitting the 3-pointers, mate, he could have had ridiculous amount, mate.
Stop that right now. Stop trying to make two guards into floor generals. Cut it out because they can see a pass, they can accumulate 10 assists. That's fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Everybody playing basketball. Jokic is a center. Yes, the ball goes through him, but he's a center. Cut it out. SGA is a 2. Is a 2. I'm with the floor. I'm not with this floor. John, me and you supposed to be agreeing, bro. What happened? We not on a call this long. That's why I don't like the fact that I agreed with Jordan more than John tonight. I don't like it. Matt, let's restart the show. We need a recount or something.
Don't you Lakers boys stuck together, man? What's going on? Dissension in the Lakers ranks, man. What's going on?
I'm more so saying I don't think he's as the size of a 2, but he's been mainly scoring. Like scoring is his bag, but I think he adds a new string to his bow if he can dial it up with the best of them. I think it really opens up the rest of his team because
I do agree with that, bro.
If the ball's going through his hands all the time, and if they think he's going to shoot it every time, they're going to guard him even tougher. If they even think there's a hint that he's going to like bounce pass or hit Jalen Williams or Chet Holmgren or somebody, he gets an extra foot of space. He gets an extra little bit of space for him to get his shot off. So I think this finals has improved him as a player. I think he's gonna be a different beast next season. But yeah, and he's gonna have some badass teammates with him.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And
but now I want to see when they're the hunted. Now I want to see when they are the hunted. When everybody gonna know. All right, yeah, use the champs. Cool, we coming. now they got spike teams and remind them, hey, we the best in the league. Don't I mean that's when I'll be like, yeah, these boys gonna be around for a long time.
Yeah, well, everybody now is going to start trying to build teams to beat you. Now that's kind of how it goes, isn't it? That's now you're the champs, mate. Now if everybody's going to try and follow your blueprint, I mean, 3 years ago, guys, how many games did this team win? 3-4 years ago, 20 games. Real quick turnaround for OKC. So you got to give it to Presti and the front office as well. They've had a bit of luck along the way, but you always need to, don't you? In the season or how things turn out. So congrats to OKC, guys. I think it's pretty safe to say. So and any other thoughts on the finals, guys, before we move on?
I've actually got one for the Lakers, boys, actually. I'm going to treat you to this. I'm going to treat you to this one, right? You're going to enjoy this.
Oh, God.
If you
Jordan, can I drop this in before you hit us? Can I drop this in before you hit us? I'm going to just say, for all of us that nag the NBA about viewership, this is actually the best viewed finals in about 6 or 7 years.
Yes, I did see that.
This is the best viewed finals, and I think it's a tribute to the caliber of teams that was in it. 2 very good, well put together teams that weren't that neither of them are big market. That's it.
Fair, dude. Yeah, good point, mate.
So your reward, gentlemen, is that we all remember a very infamous trade package. Number 12 turned out to be Jalen Williams. Shea turned out to be the new MVP. This is what you could have won, LA Clippers.
John, you gotta love the Boston boy for that. You got to at least clap him for that one. You got to clap him for that one.
I'm so full of hate towards the Clippers. I could not take another bite right now. I'm so full of hate.
Listen, I am dying inside. I'm like, yeah. Listen, every time the Clippers go to Oklahoma City, everybody should have one of jersey. Everybody should have one in Oklahoma City. I want a Paul George jersey.
Absolutely. What do you think of your Seattle SuperSonics fans, guys? Seeing OKC come out on top. Any thoughts on that?
It was bittersweet.
Tough one. Tough one.
Very tough.
I want them they need to move the team back now. Move the team back to Seattle now.
Now they won one, they can move back.
Now they won one, move it back. Move it back. That was the deal. We're going to Oklahoma. We're gonna try win one, and then we coming back. And you let Houston sign KD, but you should have signed KD, bring him back for 1 year, and then retire his jersey next to Sean Kemp and Gary Payton's. Bang. Nice. That's it.
Nice. Like that, bro. Like that, mate. Yeah, absolutely. So congrats to OKC, guys. 2025 NBA champs. Speaking of KD, guys, there was a big trade going down the other day. The KD Phoenix Suns era is over. Not very successful. Ended up.
You're smiling. And you're smiling.
I'm dying on the inside, like you, mate. I think. Traded to the Houston Rockets, guys, for Jalen Green, Brooks, and the 10th pick in this year's draft, and 5 second-round picks. Our resident GM John. I'm sure you've got thoughts on this trade, bro. What were your initial thoughts when you saw this news break?
I hated it for both teams. I hated it for both teams.
Okay.
I want to hear this.
I hate it for the Suns. They have all they have right now is volume scores, and they added another one. And all they have is shooting guards, and they added another one. You get pick 10, cool. You get Dylan Brooks, cool. Like, that's fine. it's just not like, and they get KD. It was like, great, you've gotten rid of 2 players and a pick that are going to be there long after KD's gone for a player that is 37 years old, coming off injuries consistently, and yeah, he might elevate your ceiling a bit, not by much. I don't think he takes the roof off it for the Rockets. I don't think they're favorites out west by any stretch of the imagination. For the Suns, I knew they were in a rock and a hard place. They needed to get a deal done before the draft if they wanted to get a pick, and they're probably doing their due diligence in the lottery. And yeah, the Rockets were in a position to offer them a pick that they probably deemed to be appealing. But no, I didn't like it for either team. I really, really didn't. I would have liked to have seen the Suns getting Jabari Smith back. I'm not his biggest fan either, but I think he would have been a much better fit than Jalen Green. Like no, in no way stretch or did they make the Rockets bleed. When you give up a supposed superstar player, you make the other team bleed. You make them hurt. They didn't hurt. They gave up a guy they were readily available. They're readily willing to get rid of in Jalen Green. Like the second they signed that deal, they're like, ah, shit. He's kind of blocking our actual franchise player now. Well, not currently, but Amen Thompson. Like he's blocking him from being who he really needs to be. And the Suns now have 3 shooting guards, 2 of which, well, one of which has one of the most untradeable contracts in NBA history. That's what the 5 second-round picks are for, by the way. I was saying this to you when it happened. Them 5 second-round picks were 100% going to a team like fucking the Wizards for like Chris Middleton and Marcus Smart. I'd say they'll just be like, please take this contract. We really don't want it. And Bradley, you know what Washington's like. Go back there. It's just a shit show, but yeah, I don't think either team particularly got better. I think KD, I don't know why they're pushing him out the door. Honestly, I don't think he was that bad of a player for them. I think that maybe you try and take crap contracts and get rid of Bradley Beal and do it that way. But yeah, I honestly I don't think either team got better. I really don't. I don't think they got significant. If they did get better, I don't think it's significant. I really don't.
Okay. George, do you echo GM's sentiments, or?
I'm not as pessimistic, but at the same time, I don't really see, like John said, I can't see the Rockets getting that much better to the point that they're going to be contending next season. It may be the season after, but obviously KD's getting older, and we've seen it for the last couple of years. He's missed, not massive, not like huge stretches, but he's missed pockets of games quite frequently. 4 games here, 6 games there, 6 games here, 8 games there, 4 games here, and it mounts up. There's no synchronicity. There's no synchronization in the Phoenix team. There hasn't been. That's been one of the biggest downfalls of your infamous Big Three, Matt. It's that they've not been able to build any chemistry together. And I just think that you're putting a player that is reaching the end of his career with guys that are at the start of their career. The only thing I can see is obviously the vet presence will increase because now you've obviously got Van Vliet and KD, previous champions. But it doesn't, apart from the name, putting the name Kevin Durant to one side, I don't think this trade doesn't really light up your imagination, does it? It made a lot of sense because I think Houston had a lot of assets to give up. They had players that they wanted to get rid of. KD made it obvious that he wanted to leave. It's a convenient trade, I think, for both teams. It was just too easy to turn down. But I think the one positive for the Rockets, they've not given up that much. 5 to get out of that, avoiding giving a first round pick up, I think is quite good actually. Apart from the 10th pick, which wasn't actually theirs to begin with, was it? That was so they've not given up any of their own first round picks. I don't mind it for Houston. Like I said, I think it's a bit bland. I can't see it making a huge amount of difference, but I don't mind it. I think it's a low risk trade for them. But I think for Phoenix, like John was saying, they've not gone anywhere near as much as they should have done. They should have gotten more, and they could have gotten more if they tried.
Right. Okay.
If you really wanted to press the Rockets that hard, if they was his absolute destination, for me, the deal I would have done, and the deal I would have been like, this is it or nothing, would have been Fred VanVleet and Jabari Smith. I was like, if you want KD, give me that. I was like, they actually fit needs for the Suns.
Yeah.
Jabari Smith, a power forward who is 22 years old, has plenty of time to grow. Fred VanVleet, a point guard, so that all of the kind of point guard duties don't have to go through Devin Booker anymore. Like, give some players that fit.
The only way, John, that I can see this potentially is if, and it's a massive, huge if, the Phoenix Suns are able to engineer some sort of package to get the 6th pick from Washington for this year's draft. That's the only way I can see this playing out any way positive for Phoenix. And that's, I'm thinking you're going to have to offer the 10th pick, some sort of future first, Jalen Green and probably Beal on that terrible contract, and then maybe they'll give you the 6th pick. That's the only positive I can see coming out of this, because then you get rid of Bradley Beal, you get a much more valuable pick this year. Matt, we were saying, weren't we, pre-show, the top 8 look pretty solid, and outside of that, it's a bit of a lottery. But if you can engineer a way to get that 6th pick, and it transpires to be an Ace Bailey or someone that might be a riser, it might not work out too badly. But obviously, that's a bit. I'm only hyper talking in hypotheticals. But it might happen. It's not something that's going to, I don't think, require a ton of work to get done. I think the Washington Wizards are probably looking at the draft thinking, well, this is underwhelming because we wanted the 1st overall. If we can get future assets out of it instead, then maybe we'll do that.
The thing is, I don't think they'll be able to flip Jalen Green yet, because this trade isn't going to go through till July. So flipping Green straight away, I don't think is going to be an option. But apparently, the rumors are that they can't. They're going to play Jalen Green. They're not going to flip him to go somewhere else. But I don't know if you believe the rumors or not. That it's going to be a Booker and Jalen Green backcourt, guys. Which I'm not looking forward to seeing the defense on that backcourt, guys. I'm not going to lie. I'm not looking forward to that.
Who's passing the ball?
No. Exactly, mate. Yeah.
Is Bradley Beal your 3? It's your 3. Is Devin Booker your 3?
I don't know. The jury's still out on Jalen Green, guys, isn't it? For one, I think he showed in the playoffs that he was very up and down, inconsistent, to the point where Houston didn't want to play him. I don't think in the playoffs. So that's a worry, isn't it? But I like this move for Houston, mate. I think looking at their playoffs, they needed somebody to chuck the ball to in the last 4 or 5 minutes of games who could get a bucket. And that's what KD has done his entire career. So for me, and they haven't had to give up any of their main guys to get him, I think they've done pretty well out of the deal, mate, to be honest with you. So they haven't had to give up Thompson or VanVleet or Şengün. They've even managed to hang on to Cam Whitmore, Reed Shepherd. They've managed to hold on to all their guys, really, without, giving up too much. I don't think Houston have done bad out of this deal, really. From the Suns' point of view, I think we just needed to... We were snookered as soon as we made the Bradley Beal trade, guys. I think I've said it numerous times. We backed ourselves into a corner where we got nowhere to go because we'd already made the KD trade and give up so much to get KD. And then you get Beal in, who's got a no-trade clause. You're backing yourself into a corner to now where we've had to give up KD for 50 cents on the dollar. which is, disappointing. You're telling me we couldn't have got Cam Whitmore or Reed Shepherd as well in that trade? Apparently at the trade deadline, Jabari Smith was in that trade and we didn't do it at the trade deadline. It depends what you believe or what rumors you believe. There was also a Minnesota trade that was offered, but KD said no to that trade, which
that
was
a lot better, by the way.
Well, yeah. What was it? DiVincenzo, Gobert, Dillingham, and I think their 14th pick, the first round. I think that was their deal. That's a better deal for me. But KD didn't want to go there, and we're helping KD out apparently. That's
that's what doesn't make any sense to me. Like, who gives a shit, really? He's not a franchise. The Phoenix Suns don't owe him anything. He hasn't got a no trade clause. I couldn't give a shit whether you want to go there or not. You're going there.
Well,
for anyone else, it'd be the business. So why are you protected? Because you've certainly not done anything in Phoenix to deserve that.
It's the player power, bro, isn't it? They don't want to look bad in front of the players and other players. I don't know, mate. But that's a better deal, personally, I think, is that Minnesota deal. But I don't know if you agree, GM John.
No, I think it's definitely a better deal, and I think him and Ant would be a really good duo. I like them a bit more than I like any player that's on the Rockets together. They're just two absolute killers and two scorers who are pretty much unguardable at their best. That would have been a great duo, I think. But yeah, I'm all for player empowerment in the NBA, but I'm not at all for holding your franchise that you're meant to represent.
Not to my team's detriment.
Not to ransom. If you're holding them to ransom, I was like, they're very paying you ridiculously handsomely. I'm not saying because they pay you so handsomely that means that they own you or they get to do whatever they want with you. But it works both ways. You do right by them, they do right by you. And maybe you don't get traded to a team that you are in love with. But more than likely, if a team's trading for you, they're more than likely going to be in a contending situation. Like the Washington Wizards aren't going to be like, "Hey, KD, we know you lived near Washington. Do you want to play for us?" KD would be like, "Hell no," and they probably wouldn't do that deal. But there's plenty of teams that he could have went to. He could have went to the Miami Heat. Obviously, they were like, "We're not going to give up too much for you," because they are a well-run organization. They understand that this is an aging, depreciating asset who is yet not his best. Well, actually, I'm going to say, his best years are behind him, both in an attacking way and in a defensive way. And as a teammate, you don't need players that are detriments to an actual squad. I'm not saying KD is. I'm saying, but he's not been known to be. He doesn't it's indicative of him that he's been with 5 or 6 franchises his entire career.
I don't know, mate. The last 2 years of Phoenix, mate, all the players just look miserable, bro. And I don't know if that's KD's fault, but it just hasn't been. They don't look like they've had a very good time. Booker looks pretty despondent. I don't know if that's KD's fault. I'm not saying that, but I think at some point they just went to KD and said, "Luke, I think we're gonna look to move on. Is there anywhere where you want to go? We want to do right by you," kind of thing. I think
we have a trade, by the way.
Oh, what we got?
The New Orleans Pelicans are trading CJ McCollum, Kelly Olynyk, and a future second-round pick to the Washington Wizards for Jordan Poole and Sadiq Bey and the 40th pick in this week's draft.
Interesting.
That's not bad for the Pels,
Not bad at all. They've upgraded the shooting guard position to a younger model. Why do the Wizards just taking on really kind of older, not broken down, but breaking down players? They got CJ McCollum, they have Marcus
Who is
Smart,
CJ McCollum?
and they have Chris Middleton as 3 guys in their early 30s who have shown a marked depreciation in their bodies.
Yeah.
And they didn't get really a good pick in return. I thought a pick would have been applicable. But I'd say
maybe Joe Dumars thinks he can unlock Jordan Poole. Who knows?
When I saw CJ McCollum, I don't know why, I was just like, this is Zion. But no, they just decided to get younger. Fair play to them. I think Jordan Poole could be a good move for them. But sorry, KD, fuck him. Didn't go to the Lakers. Fuck him.
Okay. Other trade that went down, which I'm sure Jordan had a very keen eye on, the Celtics moving on from Drew Holiday, traded to the Blazers again. Jord, with this, is this the sort of the Celtics cost cutting, salary cutting to get under the second apron?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm not entirely convinced this would necessarily have happened if Tatum didn't do his Achilles. I think they may have tried to run it back next season, but obviously, he's going to be done for the year. They're going to start moving maybe a little bit earlier. It's a shame because I think Drew loves the city and the organization, and he's a champion. So it's always sad to see him go. Especially someone who's contributed so well. But I'm not massively surprised. He was, like I said to you earlier, Matt, he was sort of top of my list when I was thinking who's going to move on first. He was the first guy. No question for me. I thought we were going to move him on first. We've traded him in for a cheaper option. Obviously not as good, but not a bad little player, Matt. We were going over his stats earlier, weren't we? He's got a pretty strong offensive punch. Defensively, obviously, worlds apart from Drew Holiday. I mean, he's literally the polar opposite. But in terms of shooting, it fits the system, and I think he definitely will have a place in Boston. He'll definitely have a role on the team. It's a deal of convenience, really, more than anything. Similar to the last one, both teams sort of benefit from it.
So, do you think this Celtics haven't done in terms of moves, have they? I think there's more moves to come, right, Rick?
Yeah, I mean, I know, John. Obviously, you said this morning, didn't you? Think White will be next. I said to Matt earlier, I'd be more surprised if we traded Derek White than Jaylen Brown. I don't expect either one's going to get traded, but I would be genuinely more surprised if White went because of the contract. And because I think he's locked in for 3 years, it wouldn't make sense to trade him. The obvious pick now is Porzingis. I think, White and Porzingis, for me, when I was thinking who's going to go, they were like 1A and 1B. I thought I still thought it was going to be Holiday because I thought he's easier to move off of. Porzingis, I think we may not get the return that we might have done a season ago, just because of how his health's been and just how strange of a season he's had.
We still haven't heard what that mystery illness was, have we, George? We haven't heard anything about that, right? I haven't seen it, mate, but correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's a problem you really don't want to be dealing with as an organisation. Send him somewhere else, and then it's going to be someone else's problem to work out.
But if he fails his physical, then then you're stuck with him. I don't know. That's the worst case scenario, isn't it?
It is, but hopefully that doesn't happen.
No,
I think we can expect something like maybe a couple role players and a first round pick that's not valuable. That we might get something like that back. Maybe from like the Warriors or something like that. We might just get a couple of their role players and their first round pick next year. Something like that. That's the kind of ballpark I would expect to get for him.
Okay. GM John, thoughts on this one?
I just want to know, did Jordan copy and paste that answer he gave at the start from 2017 for Isaiah Thomas? He's really like getting rid of like beloved point guards who the city has embraced and loved, and just been like, fuck off. just curious.
No, that's good.
No, the trade for the Celtics. Yes, they definitely get significantly younger. They get a really good, well, I wouldn't say really good, but they get a very effective and good scoring guard in Fernie Simons. But the big thing for them is they save themselves $44 million in tax.
Yeah,
that itself is a win for them. Like they save themselves near $45 million in a year where they're probably not going to be. They're not, okay, this is hyperbolic. I'm not saying they're not going to be competitive, but they're not going to be as competitive as they've been in previous years. Obviously, you have one of the best players in the league in Jason Tatum that's injured.
Yeah,
you're not going. You lose and borderline MVP caliber player, likelihood is you're not going to be as good. So yeah, right now I think this is the perfect opportunity for them to get younger. As in, you're getting rid of Drew Holiday, 35 years old, who had 3 years on his deal. Who the fuck gave him that deal? I mean, 35 years old, at a position where, like, as you get older and like you're not going to be as good defensively. That's just a silly deal. Like, sheer fact they got Simons and they got saved the amount of money. That's a huge win for the Boston Celtics. But yeah, it's a good trade for both sides. I think for the Trailblazers, I really like the defensive unit they're cultivating over there. And another guy, actually, while we're doing the podcast, T. Stiebel decided to take his player option, so he's staying with them for another season. So, like, there's 5 or 6 good defenders. Jeremy Grant, very good defender. Rob Williams, excellent defender when he's healthy. T. Stiebel, great defender. Then you have Tamani Kamara, who's been one of an unbelievable defensive player this season. Like, he's one guy I was just like, oh. Anytime I saw them, he stuck out defensively.
Who the Suns give away for a packet of crisps.
Yeah, he just he just really looks like the part. And then you add Drew Holiday to the mix. That's like you have 4 or 5 good defenders, and then you have some really good attacking talent as well. Like, well, I really like what they're doing over there. But yeah, I think it is a very mutually beneficial deal for both sides. I don't think that the Trailblazers were going to be too happy about paying Simons next year. I don't think they were enamored by him by any stretch of imagination. I think they realized that Shaedon Sharpe and Scoot Henderson are probably their future point guard and shooting guard combo, and that he was kind of going to be the odd man left out. But they also knew that they needed a proper veteran who's won it all and is going to be a defensive leader, and they got it. So I think both teams can be very happy with the deal. I would give the advantage slightly more to the Trailblazers. I think that the Celtics are going to lose a lot defensively without Drew Holiday. But if it's a season where they don't expect to be particularly not competitive, but like I was saying, they're not going to be championship. They probably won't be championship hopefuls. I think they could have done a lot worse.
But with the East being, potentially being not as, strength-wise as it has been this year, the East's wide open, GM. So, Celtics could still kind of, make the way into the playoffs even without Tatum. Is that a possibility, do you think?
Definitely a possibility, but I'm looking at this Pacers team, I'm looking at this Knicks team, I'm looking at this Cavaliers team. Pistons, I think the Magic got better. I think, a bunch of teams are still very relevant and very good. Like,
sure.
I understand compared to the West, it's not going to be as strong.
Yeah.
But if the Knicks make one good deal to bring in, I think if they switch Mitchell Robinson and someone else for another piece, I think they walk this Eastern Conference next year. I think the talent is there. They're lacking a little bit. They just need that extra nudge over the nudge over the edge. But
Well, another role player, do you think? Or
I think, I would say a role player. They have plenty of Anunoby, Bridges, Hart, great players. They could switch Mitchell Robinson and maybe like Miles McBride for something. Like some role player who could really give them the extra oomph. I think they could do something special. Like, that Knicks team just seems like a team that's ready to pounce this next season if Haliburton is out for the year, if Tatum's out for the year. They just seem like a team that is ready to just go for it. I don't think the Cavaliers they have very good talent. I just don't. I've never liked that squad. I've never liked how they've been constructed.
Do you think that's why the Magic took the swing in getting Desmond Bain, guys? They're looking at the East going, this thing's wide open here. If we make a move, can we, get into that top 3? I don't know.
Well, there was just one thing wrong with the Desmond Bain trade.
Go, sir.
Just the package was so ridiculous, honestly.
Idiotic.
It just how? I mean, with those picks, you could have got someone so much better than that. But I think the reason they've done it is because they've seen two things. He's an elite 3-point shooter. That killed him in the playoffs because they couldn't make a three to save their lives.
Yep.
They've seen he's available, and they've just leapt at it and thought, oh, well, and I think they've just fell in love with it. He's going to be the perfect player. So then they've allowed themselves to pay way over the top for him.
Yes.
And that's how we've got here. But there is one last thing, Matt, about the Celtics and what might happen for the rest of the offseason. Now, according to sources, to use that infamous analogy, really, it's just
unnamed sources.
It's mainly just the Boston Globe. And Keith Smith.
Oh, you're naming him as well. Very nice. Very good.
Well, Keith Smith has been a long-time writer for the Celtics.
Yep.
Walker Kessler apparently is the name that the Celtics are going to go for this. Now, apparently, the way that they're going to try and do it is just unload the picks. Basically, unload the picks, unload every dead player that we don't need, and just try and entice the Jazz into getting rid of Kessler. That's what they're going to go for. Whether it goes anywhere or not, I don't know. But
so just get every white player in the league on the Boston Celtics is basically what you're saying.
Essentially, it's because he's the only available player that the organization think they can get, and that's pretty basically the. But normally by this point, I've seen 2 or 3 players get floated around. I saw Walker Kessler before the finals started, before the playoffs started, and then it went quiet for a couple of weeks, and then he's been popping up again in the last few days, and it's been the same people talking about it. So it's we'll see. I mean, he's someone that I think would be a great fit. So,
are you going to give up for him? I suppose, mate. Is the answer? Is the question?
It might be just a haul of first-round picks, but. Do we want to make that risk? Do we want to take the same? Do we want to risk making the same mistake that various other organisations have made, and then something goes wrong and you've got no picks left?
No. Well, yeah. I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? Do you go for the home run and trying to stay relevant, or do you take a lean year and then get taken back, and then you kind of go again in another year, mate? That's the thing. They always say never do a trade with Danny Ainge, mate. So I don't know if that's a good idea.
He is our own boy, so maybe he'll do a Kevin McHale and just grease the wheels a little bit. And
I'll give you a little Celtics discount.
I have a trade for you and see what you think.
Go on, GM. Love that.
Because anytime I've heard about Walker Kessler, the player they've been basically begging teams to take off their hands is John Collins.
Yes.
Would you'll
have to take Collins as well.
Yeah. So Walker Kessler and John Collins to the Celtics for Kristaps Porzingis. Pick 28 this year, pick in 2027, and a pick in 2029.
Yeah, I'd do that.
Three ones and Porzingis.
I would 100% do that.
In all honesty, it solves a lot of problems for both teams. No, it doesn't solve any problems. It doesn't solve any problems for the Jazz, but
no. Does it work? Does it work in the trade machine, GM John?
Yep.
Nice.
Actually, let me double check. No,
Why?
Actually, it doesn't. Well, it doesn't work.
As soon as you said that, I was like, absolutely, yeah.
No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work until the trade for Drew Holiday goes through.
Oh, right, okay.
Of course. Right.
So currently they're over the second cap apron. After the trade, they'll have a little bit more wiggle room. The last thing is there's only 700,000 in difference, and it was like failed. I was like, your financial situation is that dire that we can't even swing 700,000.
Did they mess up with this second apron thing, GM John, with the CBA? Because it seems like it's really handcuffed teams now.
I don't understand how NBA teams, especially big market teams, let's not talk about the likes of OKC. Yeah, you're champions. You're a small market. I don't understand how teams like the Boston Celtics, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Miami Heat, the New York Knicks, how they don't swing their dick around in the room and be like, why are you doing these things to make the league? Yes, you're making the league as a whole more competitive.
Yeah.
But you're also like, you're killing bigger markets. Like bigger markets now have to be. Basically, this is what's happening now. You will at some point have had to tank to now be a big team. As in, I'm not saying the Celtics ever tanked, but they got Jason Tatum at the top of the draft. Then you've gotten teams like OKC, didn't tank, but they still got Chet Holmgren. And then you've got teams like the Spurs now, who got Wemby previously and now have a second pick in the draft. You're encouraging teams now to, if they're not great, just be flat out terrible. Like, it's always been a case, like, you don't reward mediocrity. Now they really don't reward mediocrity. Like, they want you to build around the draft and build teams that could last a long time. But for years, I think, and this sounds weird because against big market teams are getting shafted because they have to trade their way into being competitors now. The Celtics had to make trades to get players like Drew Holiday to get them over the line and Derek White to get them over the line. The Lakers were lucky enough to get LeBron James, and they had to empty the bank account just to get AD and to get them a championship. Like, it's just, I think what the league is doing right now is good. I think it's intelligent that they are making smaller markets bigger. They're growing them franchises up to be bigger teams. But it feels at times it's doing it at the expense of the actual larger teams. I might be wrong. That's how I feel at the moment, but I might be wrong.
No, yeah. Well, look at the draft this year, bro, and the teams that were the worst teams didn't get a top 3 pick, did they? So
no,
it's so you don't even get reward for the tanking, do you? To be really bad, then you don't even get a top 3 pick. I mean, so it's yeah, like you say, which way do you go now in terms of your teams and stuff? It's an interesting one, but the draft's coming up, guys, tomorrow night and Thursday. Have you guys got any previews for that one? Are you looking forward to it? What do you think of it being over 2 days?
I do have an inside source though about the draft.
Go. Okay, go.
Per sources, Cooper Flagg is going to go number 1.
Unnamed sources.
I'm pretty confident of that he's going to go number 1. And I'll tell you who my source is. It's me. I'm telling you, he's going number 1.
You're putting your name on the line, GM John.
I'm putting my 10 toes down on this one. He's 100% going pick number 1.
Okay. I think the top 2 are pretty safe up there, aren't they, Jord?
I don't
really
think there.
Okay.
I do not think. I think in the next 24 hours, the San Antonio Spurs make a trade.
Oh, you think they trade down?
They are not staying at 2. They would be idiotic to stay at 2.
Well, apparently they want a massive haul for that second pick, bro. They want a massive haul for that.
But they keep saying that, but I don't. It doesn't make any sense for them to draft Dylan Harper. It makes no sense whatsoever. They have a virtual copy of him right now. They don't need him. They have multiple point guards. They don't need and multiple shooting guards. Stephon Castle is basically Dylan Harper. Well, not like for like, but like a 6'6" point guard who has decent ball handling and decent scoring, like a poor man's Cade Cunningham. So is Dylan Harper. I was like, why are you? You have De'Aaron Fox, you have Stephon Castle, you have Devin Vassell. You have a bunch of guys. Trade the pick. Go to a team and be like, this sounds ridiculous. I would trade. Actually, let me see if I can do it now. I would make a trade with the Pelicans. Get Zion. Make this a fun-ass team and trade down.
I think Zion needs to get out of New Orleans, don't he? I think.
Like remember, like big and large, like big and small. Like you got Wemby who's like this, and then Zion's like this,
like cannon and ball or something.
Yeah.
Absolutely. George, you got any?
I think so. The only reason I think that I'd be surprised if the Spurs get rid of this pick, and the reason is, well, one of the reasons is that CBA deal that you two have just been discussing. This is probably going to be the last time that the Spurs are going to pick for a long time. Surely they're going to want to. They're going to want to not, lock this in while they still can. Secondly, I think looking to a future Giannis potential trade, this isn't someone that you have to give up. You can keep him, and then you've got. I said to you, Matt, didn't I? Castle and Fox can both go, and whatever picks to the Bucks for Giannis, that's going to work for the Bucks. That's going to work for the Spurs. I think this is the guy you bet on and you keep. It's just as much as I think Flag is so much clear of everybody else. I think Dylan Harper is then that much clear of the third, fourth, fifth, sixth guy. So there's a massive gap between Flag and everyone else, and then there's a massive gap between Flag and Harper and everyone else. I think it's such a safe pick on paper. It matches up really well to Wembanyama. Harper is one of the best catch and shoot three players coming out of college in this entire class. That's going to translate well to the system he's going to play in with the Spurs. It seems too much of a surefire win for the Spurs taking Harper than to trade down. And like you were saying, Matt, I think it's going to have to be something seismic. And if there are, as I suspect, secret talks going on in the background with Giannis, that all the momentum has been with the Spurs, I can't see the Bucks being willing to negotiate, because I think the Spurs will be asking for far too much for this second round pick. They will probably see it as, all right, keep it. We'll take Fox and Castle and shitloads of picks and some other old players that are going to help us as well. Keldon Johnson, possibly Vassell. So I think there's more value in them keeping it. And I think there's more value in any teams that would want to trade for it to not bother.
Yeah. I mean, like you say, the Spurs putting it out there that they want this massive haul, and then the offer that they do get is something that they're going to be happy with, and it wasn't what they kind of put out there that's what they wanted. I don't know, Spurs, how they work. It's all chess moves, isn't it, and stuff like that. But one thing I've keep coming back to, guys, about Harper and Ace Bailey, who it looks like I don't know where he's going to go because he's just cancelling workouts left, right, and centre. Both of these guys played for Rutgers last year. If these two guys were that good, why didn't they make the NCAA tournament? That's what I keep coming back to. If these two were that good, how come they didn't make the tournament? And that I don't know if that's, it's just like one of those things and it didn't happen and stuff. But I keep coming back to that really as to why, if these two were that good and they were playing together last year at Rutgers, how come they didn't make the tournament? I don't know if it might be completely nothing and they get into the league and they're really good, but I just keep having that in the back of my mind all the time. So I don't know.
No, that's a decent shout.
What's that, sir?
That's a decent enough shout. They're very, very talented players. That's unequivocal.
Yeah.
They're going to be great professionals in this league. I think Ace Bailey's a dumbass for what he's doing.
I don't know. What have you been following this, GM John, with what he's doing with teams and stuff? It's absolutely baffling.
The only team he has done a workout for officially is the Philadelphia 76ers. It's the only team he has lined up at number 3.
Apparently, he wants to play. He wants to play on the East Coast or something. I don't know what's going on.
The funny thing is, he wants to play for the Knicks, who don't have a pick.
Right. Good luck with that one.
I was like, are you gonna wait till pick 50?
Yeah, you're gonna tank yourself now to pick 50.
Yeah, I was like, or do you want to go to Brooklyn at 8? Maybe. Could be it. Like he wants to be. He supposedly wants to be in a big market.
Yeah.
But
let me just tell you something, Ace Bailey. You are not that guy. You don't get to negotiate your way and tell everyone where you're going to go. You're not Eli Manning. You are not the main guy. Therefore, you don't get a choice in where you end up. You're going to have to play the game like everybody else who's come in this league has done. You think of some of the play. We were talking about John Wall earlier, weren't we, Matt? Do you think John Wall sat there, in his college room, getting ready to come to the NBA and thought, "Oh, I can't wait to play for the Washington Wizards"? Did he fall? Well, you know what he did? He put his arse down and he gave everything to that organization. And he's widely regarded by most Wizards fans as being one of, if not the best player that has ever worn the stripes for the Washington Wizards. With this attitude, it stinks straight out the gate. The fans aren't going to like you. The team that you get drafted to, if you keep going on these pantomime antics, they're not going to like you. And then you are going to fall off quicker than a landslide, my friend. You are gone. No one's going to want to talk to you. You're just going to end up bouncing around the league, and you're what you might have been once upon a time is just going to be wasted. So I think he needs someone in his corner now to sit down with him and say, "Stop it." We've seen this script before. Not usually this late. Usually it's been in college when this has started happening. But it's just, I don't know who's giving him advice. Maybe the same. Maybe he's got not Shaden Sharp. Maybe he's got Shadir Sanders, PA in his corner giving him all this great advice. Because it's not going to work. It's not going to work because it's not going to get him where he wants. And he genuinely will. Matt, I told you earlier, didn't I? The mock draft that I've been looking at, he's projected to go to the Wizards. That would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he's sliding now, guys. He's sliding down the board. He has done for the past 2 or 3 weeks. So, yeah, who knows where Race Bailey's going to go.
Do you know where an organization, if they got him and they have the picks to do it, would be fucking scary? I rate him as a player. I don't rate his attitude, but I rate him as a player. The Thunder have enough picks to get within punching distance of, like, I can't see him getting past Brooklyn at 8. And if the Thunder can give 15, give 24, and give picks in the coming year, I think that the Thunder have a great 7 players. I don't think they have a great 8. I think they have really good, strong 7. And I always thought to myself, I'm not enamored by them at the small forward position. I always like Jalen Williams would kind of jump between 2, 3, and 4. And I was like, cool. And then they'd have Chet play 4 and 5, cool. And they have Hartenstein at 5, cool. They have Dort. I was always of the opinion that they were deficient of one additional scorer. Whether that's going to be Chet Holmgren next year, who jumps up to his production to 20 points. Yeah. I could really, really see him, if they could throw some picks at it, I could really see him on the Thunder doing something nice.
I could see Philly trading down, bro. Like you say, San Antonio might. I could see Daryl Morey trading down from 3, mate. It's a very Daryl Morey thing to do. I could see him doing that for some more assets or something, to maybe put in another deal or something. But it wouldn't surprise me either, guys. Yeah.
The only thing that would put me off that OKC trade, John, would be just that they've got such a team chemistry. Would you want someone with such a poor attitude coming in and potentially throwing things off kilter? Because that might be something that Sam Presti's looking at and thinking, I don't want to risk too much. Yes, it would be nice, but is this a risk that could bite us in the arse in next season? If he starts going around having a tantrum every 5 minutes, being a general distraction, it might be more of a hindrance. So maybe better on just taking a safe pick rather than risking too much right now.
I understand where you're coming from completely, but I don't think Sam Presti's ever shown any kind of inclination. He's the same guy that took KD. He's the same guy that took Russell Westbrook. He's the same guy that took James Harden. All of them massive attitudes. All of them MVP caliber players. All of them are divas. And yes, he's gotten rid of all 3 of them eventually. I don't think he'll have a problem. I think he just sees talent as talent. As in, like, can you help me win? Can you help me? Are you a good player? Is your ceiling higher than the guy that I was going to pick instead of you. If the answer is yes, I don't think he's ever shown kind of any hesitation being like, "Yep, you're my guy."
Just on the flip side, though, is he going to look at that and think we had the best big three, one of the best big threes to never win a championship? It didn't work. We should have won so many titles. It didn't work. It didn't work last time. And now it's worked when I've changed direction a little bit in terms of the players and builds I'm looking for. Maybe he's going to think, maybe I don't want to tempt fate, and I don't know. I'm just playing devil's advocate a little bit.
But the worst case scenario in that instance is the Thunder give up a bunch of picks that they already have dozens of first round picks. So they have so many picks that it is virtually impossible for them to draft all these players over the coming years.
Got to do something with them, haven't you?
They have to use the picks, and if they're not going to make a big swing for a Giannis, or if they didn't bring back KD, or if they're not going to get like a Luka or a Tatum, I was like, if what you do is build through the draft, like who you're going to get, like this isn't a particularly great draft. There's some depth, but there's not elite. Like you said, after 8, it kind of dies off quite a bit. If you have they're pick 15, 24, if you can throw 15, 24, like 3 first round picks to go up to, like, who doesn't really need it? The Washington Wizards, like, they're not going to do anything on that pick. For pick 6, like, they're just getting an old man graveyard. Like, at the worst case scenario for the Thunder is if he doesn't work out or he's a dick, he's your 8th or 9th man on the roster. He's not like, he'll still be a talented player, but he's not going to, like, you can still have an Aaron Wiggins ahead of him. You can still have an Osman Jang ahead of him. You can have a bunch of guys, Isaiah Joe ahead of him. If needs be, and he's that much of a dick, and he's like, you know what, he's a sunken cost, we're going to let him go, we'll eventually trade him. You can sit him his ass at the end of the bench, but I can really see them just taking a swing. Like, everyone keeps saying that his ceiling is Paul George. I can see that. Like, I can also see, like, a good bit of, like, it's a bit of a throwback, but like Rashard Lewis, remember, on Orlando Magic, like a 6'9" power forward, stretch forward. And he can play both the shooting guard, small forward, and power forward position. Thunder love some switchability. And if you can get a guy who can play 3 positions, who can shoot the ball and has the length, they'd be all over that.
So the rich get richer, mate. That's
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now,
got to use them somehow, aren't you, mate? Yeah, absolutely.
But even now, if you look at their roster, they have 3 picks in this year's draft, and currently they have 15 players under. No, not 15. Yeah,
so maybe
15
12.
players.
Are they all under contract, or some of them? I think a couple of them maybe.
They have 4, 5 players who are under team options. So literally right now, this second, they cannot physically draft these 3 players. Like, it's with their picks. Use them. Trade up. Like, everyone knows you have the most picks in the league. Use them. Use them and get like another player who could potentially make you a dynasty. If he turns out to be a Paul George, your roster is ridiculous, and you have him under a contract for 4 years.
Yeah. No, absolutely, mate. No, fair point, bro. Con Knuppel, he's rising in the draft boards as well. GM from the Duke freshman. There's kind of possible Klay Thompson comparisons, which, if you're a poor man's Klay Thompson, you might be all right for a bit. Might make a good career, maybe.
I do like Knuppel, but I think this sounds like a very hot take. I really haven't liked many Duke prospects over the last couple of years, unless they're absolutely undeniable. I just don't know why.
Fair.
I was like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure they've had dozens of great players over the last 10 years. I just don't think. I have not been enamored by a guy coming out of Duke for quite a while. Let me look up the players that came out of Duke.
So does that include Cooper Flag then?
No, I also am not the biggest Cooper Flag guy either.
Okay.
I think they're putting way too much pressure on this guy's shoulders.
Oh, they do. Don't they?
Like they're saying, like people are saying his floor is Paul George, his ceiling is Scottie Pippen. That's ridiculous.
Damn. Yeah.
As in, that's a ridiculous amount of hype to put on one player. Like, fair enough, you think he's going to be a great player. Like, I'm just looking. The last great pick that came out of Duke is 2022 and was Pablo Banchero.
Yeah.
Then Zion in 2019. There's been some decent players. Jalen Johnson, okay, fair enough. But no, I've been enamored by Duke players. But yeah,
okay. Probably since Coach K left, maybe since Coach K retired.
Oh yeah, I think that, and I think since NIL came in, they're not going as good caliber players. I guess like if you can go to a team and like I'll give you this much money, it's like Duke are like, oh, we have the prestige of the program and winning championship culture. I could blow out my Achilles tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you're going to still pay me like a team's going to pay me $3 million a year in NIL money. And you're going to give me like prestige? Nah, fuck that. I'll go to Arizona.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's probably why Duke maybe aren't getting the recruits like they used to. GM, that might be the case, bro. George, any other thoughts, bro, on this draft coming up?
I just want to reiterate, Matt, that I can't, like I said to you, I can't put my finger on it, but I just get there's something in the waters just telling me that I think there's going to be a mid-rounder that is going to absolutely just turn into something special this season. It's been a few years since we've had someone sort of in the mid-range, sort of like 15 to 20, that's just ended up way outperforming anything that we thought of. And I just get some feeling that it might, laws of probability, we are overdue. It's going to have to happen one of these seasons where we get someone that is like, a Mitchell, a Booker, a Giannis, that kind of player that falls and no one really sees until it's too late. It's got to happen sooner. You know what I mean? It's probability suggests it's got to happen sooner or later. And like I said, it's been a good few years since it's happened, and this year could be the year. Don't ask me to tell you who it is though, because I've not.
But you think it's going to be this year, right? I thought you were going to give me a name then, bro.
Ask me on draft night, because obviously the last time I tried to call one of these, it was Şengün. So I won't call it unless it feels right. That's all I'll say. I've got a 100% strike rate so far, albeit that was like 3 or 4 years ago now. But it's still my 100% strike rate.
You did have real estate on Şengün Island. I'll give you that one, bro. Yeah, absolutely. That was definitely true. Will you be watching the draft, George?
I will be, yeah. Starting late at work the following day, so it gives me a chance to
very nice.
Tune in.
Very nice.
So, be interesting. I mean, I think it's pretty safe that Flag's going to go number 1, isn't it?
I'd be surprised, mate. I mean, I'd be flabbergasted, actually, if Flag doesn't go number 1, mate. It'd send the draft into disarray if they don't take Cooper Flag, mate.
I'm actually pretty certain the Dallas Mavericks have only viewed Cooper Flag. Yeah. I don't think they've brought in anyone else for a workout. They're like, nah, we're cool.
No, it's like we've seen enough. We've seen enough, but
like we have our franchise player after like alongside AD and Kyrie. We're cool. We're grand.
He's got to do a bit more to impress GM John anyway. So we'll.
It's not. I just hate how they. You're like obviously when you're number 1 pick, you're going to come with a lot of hype.
Sure.
But this guy, they're saying this is the best pick. This is the biggest prospect since. Was it not LeBron
since Zion, maybe?
Since Wembanyama, I think they said like this is they're like 1A and 1B. Wembanyama was an all-world defender who's 7 foot something, can shoot the ball, can handle the ball like a point guard. I'm not saying that Cooper Flag can't do that. He's an exceptional player. Actually, this is hilarious. I went on to one of the draft websites and just looked up the Cooper Flag comparison. They've updated who his floor is. His floor now is Jason Tatum.
Wow.
and his ceiling is still Scottie Pippen.
Good grief.
That's obscene to say, like, oh, the worst he's going to be is he's going to be Jason Tatum.
Yeah, that's pretty
obscene.
excessive, bro. Yeah.
Is it too excessive though?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
I'm glad we cleared that one up.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I think the thing with Flag is, I think the last time I can remember looking at a draft class and thinking it's that of, apart from Wembanyama, I can remember the Cade draft class. It was absolute certain he was going number one, and he was only like, as I say, he was about, I think, 40-1 odds on to go first. Cooper Flag's 500-1 on to go first overall tomorrow night. I mean, it's as much guaranteed as you can get, isn't it? You know, we're nearing that point, Matt, where you're not even going to be able to put any bets on for him to go number one.
No, you're just buying money, mate, at that point, and not a lot back.
But like I was saying earlier, I'm pretty sure that Dylan Harper is an absolute lock as well to go second. Just like I was saying, I think it's the same thing. It's the same thing with Flag. Just as clear as Flag is everybody else. I think Harper is the same distance between the third pick and everyone else involved. So I'm pretty certain he's going to go second, and I do think that will still go to the Spurs, whether he stays there or not.
Yeah.
I think they do take him second.
Yeah, that's going to be a weird thing. Whatever the Suns pick that they've just had from Houston's number 10, but the trade's not going through till July. So Houston are going to have to make that 10th pick for the Suns. So whoever gets picked number 10 is going to have to wear a Rockets cap, but then they're never going to play for the Rockets. They're going to go to Suns. It's just going to be a weird they need to kind of do something about that, guys, don't you think?
Absolutely. Before we go, do you? Yeah. I was going to say, this is like just off the top of my head. If there is any sort of likelihood, like a percentage chance, do you think that the Spurs trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo tomorrow? Is there any way at all?
I mean, I would say, Matt, like you always like saying, normally you'd say, nah, not a chance. But the way things have been going recently, one of those, it would not surprise. If I got sat down tomorrow night at midnight, getting ready to watch the draft, and then half an hour into the broadcast, you just got Shams saying, I've got some breaking news. I'd be like, yeah, well, here we go. This is it. Well,
with this season, bro, I wouldn't rule anything out, GM John. From what I've seen this year, Luka getting traded, I wouldn't rule anything out, bro.
But it just makes no sense for the Bucks to run it back next year. It makes zero sense. They have Dame Lillard out for most of the year. Their best player after Giannis is Kuzma.
Ouch.
That's not a great, if you can get like Stephon Castle, pick 2, Jeremy Sohan and Harris and Devin Vassell, you're not a contender.
You're resetting straight away, aren't you? Kind of.
And
the only reason.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all right, John. I'll cut you off there, mate. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to talk shit, so go ahead.
The only reason I can't see Giannis going to the Spurs is because we know what family money is. Family comes first. We also know that the Bucks, unlike Durant with Phoenix, they owe him pretty much everything. So if he doesn't want to go to the Spurs, he's not going to go to the Spurs. And there is every possibility that he's said he doesn't want to go there. It's miles away from everything that he knows. It's a completely different environment. The climate is massively different to Milwaukee. Is that really going to be a good fit for him and his family? Maybe it isn't. Maybe he's saying, no, if I'm going to go anywhere, it needs to be east. I'm not going out west. And I know, Matt, you were saying they're going to do everything they can to stop him from staying in the east. But I don't think they're going to stand in his way if he's absolutely adamant that he's not going out west. Then, maybe this is never going to happen, regardless how many times we keep trying to make hypothetical trades. It might be something that's absolutely off the table that we just don't know about yet.
Yeah, great point, bro. I mean, he's earned that right, hasn't he, bro? That, if he did want to go somewhere, you'd think Milwaukee would help to facilitate that if he really wanted to go. He's earned that. He won him a title, didn't he, in 21? And they think, it's a different situation than other players. Like you say, who knows? There have been draft day trades before, guys. So don't be surprised. Like I say, I'm not writing anything off, mate. I'll be honest, but it seems like the logical place if he is going to be traded is going to the Spurs. But like I've said, for me, the East is wide open. Really, why would you go? But it's tough for Milwaukee to be able to get pieces around him that they're going to be competitive enough. That's the struggle. But maybe he just doesn't want to leave it. He just wants to stay in Milwaukee. And I think he's earned that right, that if he wants to do that, then he should be allowed to. Maybe he just likes Doc Rivers, guys. Who knows?
The sheer fact that the Spurs were so adamant about, like, no, we're not involved in the KD thing, even though, like, he was on their list, they're like, nah, we don't want him. Just how offhanded, they were like, no interest.
Yeah. Are they just lurking, ready to?
Yeah, it just gave me pauses. Like, why are you so definitive? You didn't need to come out and say anything about it. But the Spurs, as an organization, said we are not interested in getting KD. Like, we don't want him. They said to Shams, and Shams basically was like, "Yeah, Spurs don't want him." It gives me pause that, like, if they do go with Harper at 2, they have too many point guards and they have too many shooting guards. Like, they have stupid depth at the positions. I was like, it's kind of counterproductive. And I could never see the Bucks getting a better deal than what the Spurs can offer. If you can often pick 2 and a bunch of really decent young players under team control contracts, you can restart your franchise straight away. And they've picks to burn as well. I like Jordan said, I would not be surprised in the slightest if we heard before the first pick gets announced that the San Antonio Spurs have got Giannis Antetokounmpo. I would not be shocked. I'll still be shocked, but also in the back of my mind, I was like, yeah, makes sense.
Makes sense.
Like,
yeah.
They're going to want to build. Like, Giannis is 30 years old at the moment. He's averaging 31 and 12. 32 and 12, and you put him next to probably the best defender in the world in Wembanyama. If you put one of the best defenders in the world in Giannis Antetokounmpo, that team is going to be slaughter teams for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Yeah. Good luck getting down the lane on that team, mate. With that
Oh, hell no.
Oh no,
hell no.
You better be good at 3-point shooting because you ain't getting nowhere in there, mate. Absolutely.
No.
Yeah, crazy, man. For sure. But anything else, guys, before we head out?
I think I'm knocked out, to be honest.
Yeah, we haven't done a long pod in a while, guys. But just like the old days. But thanks very much for popping in. Thanks to Philosopher, he had to duck out. But George, you want to let people know where they can find you, bro?
Yeah, man, just over at the NBA Infamous. Just see it there. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, give us a follow on X, Twitter, whatever you call it. Shout me up.
Sound. And GM John, surprise guest today, bro, but it was good to have you on again, bro. So do you want to let people know where they can find you, man?
Thank you very much for having me again, and hopefully I'll make way more next season. I have to wait until the boy gets a bit older and gets his sleep pattern correct. But you can find me. I'm not going to call it X, it's fucking Twitter. It's Jonathan K NBA on Twitter and Instagram.
Absolutely, mate. Pleasure to have you on again, bro. But thanks very much, guys. So I'm Matt at PostUp323. So you'll be able to rewatch this on YouTube, guys. And you'll also be able to listen to it in podcast form on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. So we might be back, guys, in a couple of days, maybe to review the draft. Maybe if one of these guys is available, maybe I'll have to speak after we stop recording. But otherwise, the season's over, guys. OKC are the champs. So we'll see you again. Keep an eye out on the socials, guys, at Shooters Lounge 3. So thanks for tuning in, and we will see you again very soon.